Good evening. What a time we had. Shooting spitballs, running in the halls, throwing erasers. That made our school year so much fun. All the things that we did. You know, there were times when we had to buckle down and, do our work, but we still had a lot of fun. I could remember having to write on the board 100 times, not to talk in class. Sure some of you can relate. But something has changed in our school system. Something has gone awry. When teachers and administrators used to handle the disciplinary problems in the schools, we find now that the disciplinary problems have been taken over by our law enforcement officials. And so what has happened? Well, it's something that we call the school to prison pipeline. And so today we're going to discuss what this school to prison pipeline is. And being a member in a community that has a lot of high-risk youth, I've kind of seen some of the effects of this. And so we're going to discover what the school to prison pipeline is, and if any, what consequences result from this. And so again, in order to understand what the school to prison pipeline is, we must first know what it means. So the ACLU defines the school to prison pipeline as a set of policies and practices that push our nation's children out of the classroom and into the juvenile justice system. So policies and procedures, and practices rather. Let's take a look at one particular procedure or policy that's very well known, very common, and it's the zero tolerance policy. Where back in our day, back in my day, if you, not my age, but back in my day, you could bring, say, a fingernail file or clip to school. Well, now that's considered a weapon. And so if you bring a weapon to school, even in my day, if you brought a weapon to school, that was grounds for law enforcement to be involved. But, a fingernail file in the school, and some children are being arrested for that, even as young as elementary school age. And so, these are some of the things. Lack of resources is a problem as well, because if the students are not being provided the resources and the teachers are not provided with the resources, then it makes it difficult for the learning process on both ends. And so those are the things that we're seeing in our schools right now, just the basics. And so those policies and practices is what's known as the school to prison pipeline. And so next we want to take a look at some of the problems or the consequences that result from this practice, And again, it affects those that are most at risk, as defined by the ACLU. They say that failure to educate increases disengagement and dropout, and also increases court involvement among our youth. And so what we find as some of the consequences is that many of our kids are being arrested more frequently. And if they're being arrested more frequently, they're not in school, and so they're not being educated and they're not becoming productive citizens in our society and in our communities. Another issue or another consequence or result is that we find that our young people are having issues with re-entry. We call it the re-entry barriers. They're having problems being re-entered into school because of their criminal records now, even at younger and younger ages. They're not able to find jobs. And so those are problems that we see, and those are the situations that result from this school to prison pipeline. And so I just wanted to give you a brief synopsis of what the school to prison pipeline and some of its effects, if there are any. And that's what we've discussed today. And my goal today for you is simply that you would get a better understanding of the school to prison pipeline and how it affects the communities in which it is most prevalent. Thank you.